everyone, it's Laura from Rosh River Library. Today we are going to be doing our April session of Dance Around the World. So at the beginning of all of our Dance Around the World meetings, we always talk about the books that we had during the last month that we checked out, and we kind of review our last dance. So if you guys remember, last month we did Irish step dancing. So remember how we learned about how the Irish step dancers have feet that move really fast and really still upper bodies, and it's very impressive. And remember how we learned about dance masters and how they travel around Irish villages and taught people how to dance. And that's kind of how it started and became popular, because people were dancing for entertainment and kind of having like dance-offs. So it's a good transition to tap, because Irish step dancing and tap are very closely linked. So this month we are going to learn about tap. So the beginning of tap is that it started in New York City. So we've been all around the world, and now we're going to come back to America in New York City. So here's the state of New York. And then we have New York City down here. So tap really was starting to begin during the as far back as the 1600s. So that's like over 400 years ago. But it really started in the 1800s, which was about 200 years ago. It started in New York City in a place called Five Points. Today we know it as Chinatown. And here's a picture of Chinatown today. But this is where tap dance started way back. So the reason it started is because Irish immigrants and African Americans lived side by side here, and their styles of dancing merged. So tap is a combination of Irish clogging and jigging, like we did last month, and African stomping and clapping rhythms. So those two types of dances were being done, and then they kind of just welded together and created a whole new type of dance, which is tap. So if you remember last month how we talked about how sometimes Irish dancers wear heavy shoes that make noises, that's kind of where that music with your feet came from. So in the very beginning, improvisation was very important in tap. So do you guys know what improvisation means? We talked about it once before during Dance Around the World, but all it means is that you make up the dance right then and there. You don't have a plan, you don't have steps that you rehearse beforehand. You just make it up as you go. So improv was very important for early tap dancing. So what happened is that people started to have tap challenges. So it was usually a couple people, maybe like two people, and one person would do a rhythm with their feet, and then the other person would kind of mimic that rhythm but add their own flair to it, and they go back and forth, and they kind of compete in that way. And so once tap challenges get going, they get really fast and really exciting to watch. So that was the beginning of tap. So it was really about making music with your feet and improvising rhythms. So as time went on though, tap started to change as different dancers and groups of dancers did tap dancing. So for example, Gene Kelly was a very famous tap dancer during the 1930s and 50s. And he merged tap and ballet. So do you guys remember about ballet? You probably know ballet, even if you weren't there for our session. So tap and ballet merged, and Gene Kelly made tap very lyrical and graceful. And he also made the tap dancing a full body dance instead of mainly just your feet. Another famous example is Fred Astaire, who was during the 30s and 50s, and he merged ballroom dancing and tap. So if you remember back to our waltz dance, just imagine waltzing and tap together. So it was also very graceful, and it involved your whole body instead of just your feet. So they were really important for tap, but after that, tap didn't become as popular. It kind of went downhill. But then people started tapping in Broadway shows, and then it became really popular again. And as people started tapping on Broadway, a new type of tap emerged, which was called theatrical tap. So now we have two types of tap, really. The first one, which was traditional or rhythm tapping. That was way back in the beginning when they had improv and dance-offs. People still do that today too, though. And then we have theatrical or Broadway tapping. So what are some differences? Well, in rhythm tapping, people make music with their feet. It's really awesome to watch. It's very fast. There's so many beats, and it's very impressive to see that people can make music just with their feet and the taps on their shoes. Rhythm is super important in rhythm tapping. That's why it's called rhythm tapping. So people listen to rhythms around them. They might listen to a beat, drum beat, or a song. They might listen to the sounds around them. They might listen to another dancer tap dancing, and then they do their own rhythm. It is all about the feet in rhythm tapping. In theatrical or Broadway tap, counting is important. So instead of rhythm, where you have like a rhythm that you're trying to make, counting is important. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you know the steps you're going to do and you rehearse them. So it's more exact, and it's not improv, obviously. It's rehearsed. And your whole body dances. So you have arms, you have head, shoulders, everything, instead of just to focus on your feet. I can't show you videos like we would normally watch together, but after this is done, I'll link 2 examples, or like example of each type of tap in the comments, so you can see how different they are and how each one expresses itself through that. So for the music, we always talk about music, and music can be lots of different things for tap. So in rhythm tapping, there often is no music because people are making the music with their feet. There can be some music though sometimes, maybe even just like a slight beat. In Broadway or theatrical tap, there's tons of different types of music. There's like jazz music or show music. And then today, people dance to all types of different music for tap. So there is a lot of variety when it comes to music. The same goes for costumes. So for rhythm tap dancing, people often wear just normal clothes that you wear every day. During the 30s and 50s, it was popular to wear like suits and dresses. In Broadway or theatrical tap, they often have flashy or jazzy clothes, or their costumes match the character they're playing in their musical. So just like music, there can be so many different types of costumes worn for tap. But it all comes down to the shoes. Without shoes, there is no tap dance. You can try it, but there's no sounds. So tap dancing is all about tap shoes. So in the very beginning, like during the early 1900s, they had wooden shoes that had wooden bottoms, and they were really stiff and they made sound on the floor. But then in about the 1920s, people started attaching metal plates onto the bottom of their shoes. And when they did that, they started to have a really sharp, loud tapping sound like this. I have tap shoes on. So that kind of evolved tap because they were able to make more sounds and it was more flexible than wooden shoes. So we were going to do this together at the library and try it in like a part of the parking lot, but if you guys are able to do this at home, you can try to take washers, different types, you can try different sizes, and take 2 pieces of string and tie them onto each side of the washer, and then tie them onto your foot. Like if you have a shoe on, you can just put this on the bottom of the shoe and then tie the strings on the top of your foot. You can try to maybe like secure it with tape if it wants to fall off, but then you can try to make some tap sounds at home. I have tap shoes and I have a floor here that won't be damaged if I tap on it. So make sure you won't damage your floor. Maybe you can try it outside or on a certain type of floor. But if you can't find that, or you can't do that, you can also try making rhythms on a table, or like maybe like a container. Here's an ice cream container, an old container, or maybe like food storage container. You can use it as a drum and try some rhythms. And this is going to come in handy for our next activity, which is our story. So I usually don't read a story in Dancing Around the World, but since you guys can't check out books after, I'm going to share this one with you because this is a really great book about tap dancing. This book is about a famous tap dancer. His name was Bill Bojangles Robinson, and he is considered the greatest tap dancer of all time. And he tap danced during that early period, during the early 1900s. So he really made tap successful. He made it what it is, and he had a lot of influence in tap dancing. So this book is really fun because it tells us about him, but it also has a rhythm that repeats throughout the whole book. And we can act along with this, and we can make this rhythm as I read it. So if you have tap shoes, or if you made your own, you can try it by using your feet to make the rhythm, which is rap-a-tap-tap. We're gonna repeat that throughout the book. Rap-a-tap-tap. You can also try it on your container or on a table or something like that. Okay, but I'm going to do it with my feet since I have tap shoes on. So let's try it together. This book is called Rap-a-tap-tap. Here's Bojangles. Think of that. By Leo and Diane Dillon. There once was a man who danced in the street. Okay, get ready. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. There he is. He brought pleasure and joy to the people he'd greet. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. He didn't just dance, he made art with his feet. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. He danced past doors. Some were open, some closed. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. He danced past folks in fancy clothes. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. He danced through a place people called the Skids. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. How are you doing with your tapping? You can try different parts of your feet, maybe just a heel, just a toe, or your whole foot. He danced through crowds of laughing kids. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. Look how much energy he has. His feet fairly flew as he tipped his hat. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. Can we go a little faster? Let's see if we can. He briefly paused to pat an old cat. Rap-tap-tap. Think of that. He danced rain or shine in all kinds of weather. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. People listened each day for his toe-tapping clatter. Rap-tap-tap. Think of that. He danced many rhythms that were seldom the same. Rap-tap-tap. Think of that. Remember how we talked about rhythms? Dance was his passion, and it brought him fame. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. Bojangles, Bojangles, that was his name. Rap-a-tap-tap. Think of that. And there he is. Thanks for tapping with me. You guys are really good with the beats. So Bill Bojangles Robinson has a little bit about him. He is known as the greatest tap dancer of all time. He had charm and charisma, and it was said that he talked with his feet. His rhythms were so intricate and fast, it was impossible for other dancers to repeat some of them. A fun fact is that May 25th is called now National Tap Dance Day in Bill Robinson's honor. So that is a little bit about one of the greatest tap dancers. And you can also find videos of him dancing. He had a really famous routine called the stair routine where he did really intricate tapping on stairs. So now that we learned a little bit about tap, we're gonna try out some of these moves. So I'm gonna move this chair. You guys can get ready to try some moves. You can certainly do these without tap shoes. You won't get the same sounds, but it will be fun, and you can try the different ways you move your feet. So we did a little warm up there with our book, but we're just going to do a little bit more. It's really about the feet, so we don't need to do too much because we're not going to be doing any great moves that require flexibility, but we can try pointing our foot, flexing our foot. Your feet have to be really strong and loose for tap. So we're going to point our foot, and then we can twist it around, really get our ankles nice and loose. And we can try on the other side, pointing, flexing and rolling our ankles, maybe bending our knees and getting ourselves ready for tap dancing. Okay, and now we're just gonna do a little bit to get our bodies loosened up. So we're going to take our leg and pull it to the front, and then to the back. This can be really relaxing. Stretching really helps you to relax, especially during times like this. Great job. Okay, so now we can spread our feet apart and maybe reach to one side. We usually do this. Really opens up your back and your sides and your arms. Okay, now we reach to the floor. Good job. Okay. Reach up and come down. Wiggle your fingers. We're going to be doing this. The tap dancing that we're going to be doing is more of a theatrical tapping. That's what I learned. So we're just going to be doing some of those basic moves, and we're going to be incorporating jazz with our tap, because in theatrical tapping, jazz is often danced together with tap. Okay, and then we're going to roll our shoulders, get that loosened up, and maybe roll our neck a few times. Always feels good to do that. Okay, great job. I feel a little bit looser. Hopefully you do too. So these are our steps that we're going to learn. Okay, so we have step. So step is very simple, but it's important. If you remember, like last time, if you remember in Irish step dancing, how we danced on the balls of our feet, and that was really important. That's important for tap too. You have to be able to separate the movements of your heel and the ball of your foot, because you don't want all these sounds together. You want those specific sounds. Okay, so a step in tap is stepping with the ball of your foot. Very simple. Good job. Okay, so then we have a heel. Very simple as well. Just your heel. Trying to get that clean sound. And then we have a toe, and that's just using the very tip of your shoe. Trying to get that sound. Okay, and then we have a stomp. Now there's a difference between stomp and stamp. Kind of silly. Okay, so stomp is, so a stomp and a stamp use your whole foot. It's not separated. So stomp goes down and comes back up. There you go. And then a stamp stays on the ground. It sticks. We're going to be using a stamp in our combination that we do. So stomp, stamp. Okay, and now we have a brush. A brush, just use the ball of your foot. It goes forward. Try it with the other foot. Great job. Okay, and then we have a spank, which comes back the other way. I know you guys are doing great. I really miss seeing you all dance around the world. Okay, so when we put a brush and a spank together, we make a shuffle, which is one of the most basic steps in tap. So brush and spank. That's a shuffle. So brush, spank, brush, spank, brush, spank. And that's a shuffle. So you can try them. It's really good to try them like traveling too. We're going to be doing those in our dance. And then we have another basic step, flap. Flap is similar to a shuffle, but it doesn't come back up. See how my foot is up now? It stays on the ground, kind of like stay. So you brush. With a flap, you brush and then you step. So it's brush, step. Brush, step. Let's do it from the side. Brush, step. Brush, step. Okay? Brush, step. Brush, step. Okay, so here's a shuffle versus a flap. So we have shuffle, flap, get that? Shuffle, flap. Great job. So then one of our last steps is flat ball change, which is very important. So a ball change, we've done this before, is just changing your weight on the balls of your feet. Okay, so we're gonna be dancing here, okay? So we do ball change, ball change. So flat ball changes, flap, ball change, flap, ball change. Great job. So you can try those traveling too. Let's try them together. Flap, ball change. You can get some arms. Tap is really fun because once you have the steps on your feet, you can just let your upper body dance. And then our other step is a hop. That's all. We just combine those with other steps. So those are our basic steps, and here is our combination that we're going to try. I'm going to go kind of fast, but don't worry, you don't have to do the steps. All the steps I'm doing, you don't have to be perfect. You can go back and look at it again, but we're just going to try those steps and sounds out and dance to a song. Okay, so this is our combination. So we go step, hand out. Your fingers spread out kind of like into a jazz hand. Other foot, step out. And then we're going to come up, and we're doing like kind of like a shimmy. So you're on the ball of your foot and you're moving it like this, like you're gonna step on something. And you come up with jazz hands all the way to the top, and then you come back down. And then we're going to step, spin. Just like that, okay? So we have step, hand, shimmy with the jazz hands, and they come down, and then we step, spin. And now we're going to travel forward, and we're going to do two movements that we learned. We're going to do a step, heel, okay? Back and forth 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now spin like we did before. And now we're going to go back with the same movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now step, turn the other way. And here we are. Now get your shuffles ready because we're going to do 8 of them moving forward. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great job. Okay. Now we're going to do a stamp, jump together, clap. Clap is really fun to tap too because it adds a sound that's not your feet. Okay, so we just did 8 shuffles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we go stamp, jump together, clap. Okay. After that, we are going to do 6 flat ball changes, and we're going to move in a circle and then travel forward. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to do the stamp, together, clap. Stamp, together, clap. Good job. All right, so after that, we're going to do a shuffle, hop, step. So we have our shuffle. It's just 3 moves put together. Shuffle, hop with your other leg, hop, step with that first leg, step. Shuffle with the left, hop with the right, step with the left. Shuffle with the right, hop with the left, step with the right. 4 of those moving back. Great. Okay. And now for our last little step, we're going to do hands on the hips. This is a really popular first step, at least in the dance school I learned from. So you do toe, 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 toe. So 4 of those. And what you're doing is you're just stepping with your toe, but your heel is staying on the ground. It's just swiveling back and forth like this. So do it without the toe. Almost like you're stepping on the shimmy, but with your toe. Okay, and then you put your toe down every time you move it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, great. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we step, slide. That's like a jazz move. It's pretty fun though. Okay, and then we do 1, 2, 3, 4. Just repeating on the other side. Step, slide. and then you can strike your pose, whatever you want to do. Improv. Okay, so let's do it all together, and then we'll try it to a song. So we start out with step, hand, 1. Bring it down. When we do this, you'll see it goes with the music. And then we turn. And then we do forward, toe, heel, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we do, oh, forgot, wow. And we're going to turn. And then we go back with the same thing. Toe, heel. 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn. And now we do 8 shuffles. Stamp, stamp, stomp together, clap. Great job. Last ball change. 4, 5, 6. Stamp, stamp together, clap. Great job. And now we do our shuffle. 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Step, slide. 1, 2, 3, 4. Step, slide, and pose. Okay. We're just gonna have fun with it, and we're just gonna do a little song. This is just a jazz song, and we're gonna try it to the music. Go at your own pace. Oh my gosh, that's so much fun. Great job. Okay, so that is tap dancing, and you can practice that at home. You can practice after you do that a few times and learn those first few steps. You can practice your making up your own rhythms and your own music. So have fun, keep dancing, and hope you all are doing well. Thanks, we'll see you later.